Welcome again. This is still the fifth edition of the Nigerian FinTech Week. We've had some amazing time here from the beginning of this week, and it continues, but we are gradually winding down the fifth edition. Right about now, we will be listening to a presentation by Iman Pulis, who is the founder and group CEO of Sigma Group. And the title of his presentation is the application of emerging tech solution in iGaming. Iman, if you can hear me, you have 10 minutes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Just a moment. Your audio.
Can you hear me?
Just say hello.
Hello, hello. One,
okay,
two, hello.
It's better. Maybe you want to take it up a bit. Oh, it's okay. You can go now. You're fine.
I'm fine. Good to go.
Yes, you're fine.
Go ahead to me. My name is Eman. I'm the founder of the Sigma Group, and predominantly we organize largest expos in the world for iGaming and for emerging tech. Those of you who would like to see a bit what we do, have largest 40,000 use gaming and emerging tech, and that's www.sigma.world. www.sigma.world. And our next 8-9 minutes are going to be accordingly. I'll make a brief intro about what we're doing currently. I'll also give a quick number of examples of how this emerging technology is thinking through the gaming industry. And then I'll pass on the floor to my colleague, Emily, who gracefully decided to join my presentation today to talk a bit about the number of verticals that are slowly. So we're talking about
Iman, your audio is not clear. It's breaking. Yeah, your audio, your network, it's not coming out well here.
Can you hear me a bit better like this, maybe?
Yes.
Better?
Yes, this is better.
Okay. So what I was saying is I'm going to talk very briefly about the 6 verticals and give some examples of how emerging technology is seeping through the gaming industry. Example number 1, which is the most obvious, is the use of cryptocurrencies by online sportsbook or online casinos to accept as form of payment. So we see a lot of gaming casinos nowadays accepting not only the traditional methods of payment. For example, in Africa, we have mobile payments being very dominant. Across Europe, we have MasterCard, Visa, and other payment methods. But slowly, we're seeing the acceptance by regulators to embrace cryptocurrency as a form of payment. And one looks at this method, there can be a number of KYC measures and anti-money laundering measures that can protect not only the player, but can also protect the casino from accepting illicit source of funds. So the use of cryptocurrency, I would say, is the most easy way that the industry is embracing. Another use, which I find extremely interesting, is that of making sure that the random generation of slot games, so when slots are being played, there's a random number being generated every time. Usually, until today, we needed game testers to make sure that the number generation is fair and the casino is giving a fair amount of winnings back to the player. So we had game testers and we had regulators who were looking into those games to make sure that the numbers are fairly generated and not in favor too much operator. Thanks to blockchain technology, one can make sure that the number generation is fair and is never tampered with. And you do not therefore need to have the regulator. You do not have to require a games tester to make sure that your games are provenly fair. So blockchain technology is removing, let's say, the middleman. In this case, it's the regulator as well as the games tester, to make sure that the player can trust the operator to play those games. That's another example. One more example, this time related to sports betting. So until today, for someone to bet on a football match,
Your audio is off now.
Joseph,
It's
okay?
back. So there's something that, yeah.
Okay.
Say something?
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was talking about sportsbook. Did I lose you there? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me? I was talking about sportsbook. Did I cut off?
Go
Okay,
on.
so another case example is the sports betting. When we talk about sportsbook, usually you have two punters and they rely on the bookie to manage the bet and keep a small slice of the bet after the winnings are given out. Thanks to blockchain technology, you do not need the bookie anymore. You don't need the middleman any longer, and you can have peer-to-peer betting based on the blockchain. So that's another use case study of emerging technology in gaming. I'll give one last case study and I'll leave the floor to Emily, and that's the use of artificial intelligence this time to make sure that casinos are protecting the consumer from addictive gambling. So today there's artificial technology software that can be integrated in the slot game to make sure that if a player is playing compulsively, that behavior, so the rate with which you click the button, for instance, that behavior can be analyzed by the software and it can start detecting a pattern that resembles addictive behavior. So I look forward to a future where the regulator makes such software compulsory for operators, that the end player is protected from becoming a victim of online gambling. So definitely a very interesting space, one to consider. And if I may, as Sigma, we organize two massive shows, one in gaming, one in emerging technology. And I look forward to a future where those two verticals collide under one roof, hopefully next year post-COVID at one of our shows. And I'll pass on the floor to Emily so she can talk a bit about those six verticals.
There, can you hear me? Perfect. So I'm here to talk to you today about, in a little bit of detail, about six main verticals of emerging technology in the iGaming market and in the iGaming. So I'm going to give you just a very brief overview. So if you take into account that the current worth of the global iGaming is estimated to be somewhere in the ballpark of about 46 billion US dollars. So that's a huge industry. And if you take the amount of regulation and legislation that there is across the different markets, so obviously North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and of course in Africa, and the different types of regulation that there are in the country. So how would this then apply to the different types of technologies available, and how can they integrate into the sections of the industry, especially into gambling? So let's take blockchain, for example. So if you look at the black and gray unregulated sectors of the iGaming market, which are, let's say, worth up to about 10 times more than the regulated sector. So one of the most promising solutions to bridging the gap between the legal and the illegal market lies in blockchain. So cryptocurrencies have already established a great option for gamblers participating in unregulated games because they're not bound by government law. So this makes them a natural fit with the unregulated gaming. So if you placing bets outlawed in a lot of countries, and this is not just in Africa, but across the world, even in North America, there's a lot of countries that don't even allow you to place a bet online. Then cryptocurrencies give people a way to gamble in places where it's banned to do so. And up until this point, bet is a blockchain-based platform for gambling out of necessity. So now comes a time when we use the same technology to create the best option on the iGaming market and hopefully revolutionizing the entire sector in the process. So there's a lot of ways that the decentralized, immutable, and transparent qualities of blockchain technology can improve the state of the iGaming. And these are provable things, like Emma was saying, that because you have with the blockchain network, there's full disclosure of both gambling odds, results of placed bets, and the game is guaranteed by smart contracts. Due to their underlying logic, the bet becomes subject to digital agreement, making it completely impossible for staff or from any kind of outside intervention from customers. And the blockchain system keeps detailed, immutable accounts of all games played and all the bets safe. So as well as the results. So it also keeps track of the amounts that were won, amounts that were paid out to winners, and this means that players understand that transaction. So obviously this is very, very important. And obviously you can come into easier auditing processes for regulators. You can start going payment solutions, stronger security. You've got live streaming authentication. There's huge amount of reasons why it would be so good, but we don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to go into that much detail. What I will also touch on is artificial intelligence in the gaming. So if you think about it, it can be introduced in many different ways and different parts of the casino operation. So you've got player verification, customer acquisition, fraud, behavior analysis, and detection. So think about it from the point of view of trying to catch somebody cheating. How can this be done? So, sorry, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we have to end this session now. But also your audio wasn't the best. Maybe one of the things you can do is to also record this and have Coin News Extra share it with the community. But the audio wasn't the best.
Yes, if it helps, we can then send all the information that we have to you after the event, so that when you have more time, you can look.
Wow. But yeah, let me just say thank you for your time. I mean, our time is up, but I think that you can record this and send it across to the Coin News Extra team, so they can sort of move it across the community. But so thank you for your time. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your time. That's the team from Sigma Group talking to us about blockchain in the e-gaming industry. We would have to end the session now, and we will join the next session. If you're on the platform, please exit this particular session and join the next session that starts in the next 1 minute. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
They said.
Is anything coming up with DeFi?
That's on the roadmap. I don't know exactly in what way, but I do know that that's being worked on. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's explore that, because the funny thing is now that this is there and that these blockchains suddenly work with each other, there's some possibilities coming up. It's really exciting times, I have to say. Plus, it's the first time in history that blockchain is like with a working product.
I would say so. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah.
And this is why it has really been an exciting year to learn a lot. Can't go out anywhere, so what you do, you work.
I think we have the host here.
He's just texting me that I should please join. Can you guys hear us? Hello, hello.
Love you when they're playing. When they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in any part of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, it is afternoon. This is the 5th edition of the Nigeria FinTech Week and the first virtual edition. The world had to adjust rapidly to the realities of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it continues to adjust, which of course gives more room for technology to sort of pave the way and lead the way. Right now, we'll be going into a session on data management and remittance through blockchain. We have a line of experts who will share their thoughts on how this can be made possible, leveraging the blockchain platform. Remember, the hashtag for this event is hashtag Nigeria FinTech Week and hashtag NFW 2020. Let me call on Shedrack, Kubiani, D. Duncan, Felix Mago, Shebulaila Grant Skade, Muhammad Ibrahim Jega. This panel together would share their thoughts on data management and remittance through blockchain. If you can hear me, let me hand over to you, Felix and D. I see both of you now.
Greetings.
All right, welcome. Hi, welcome.
Hi, everyone.
So you
Thanks
have
for having us.
55 minutes for this session. Thank you.
Okay.
So over to you. Any of you can start.
You first, sir.
Thank you. So my name is Felix Mago. Hello, good evening from my side. I'm in Bangkok in Thailand, and you're right. It's amazing that that the virtual con enabled us now to really connect all around the world and share that with all these people, all these great people participating. So my name is Felix Mago. I work for Dash. Dash stands for Digital Cash. We are one of the first and very older cryptocurrencies, if you can say that in that space, one of the first and very old cryptocurrencies out there. Started in 2014, and again, it stands for digital cash. That means we really have a payment focus. So, we have been going around the world, or we have teams all around the world, driving crypto adoption with really, we want that people pay with cryptocurrency and do real life things beyond only the trading and speculating and investing use case. And I think we have done that very good. I work for an entity called Dash Next. So it's out of several teams, a completely decentralized organization. That means we have no central entity or central head in Dash, but we have different teams around the world. Again, I am in Asia, Dash Next, with the global partnership and business development approach. We have teams in the US, in Latin America, and even in Nigeria, we have Dash Nigeria. Nathaniel is leading that, so shouts out to him because he has really done a great job in Nigeria on the ground. So thank you very much for having me.
Greetings. My name is D. Duncan. I run a company called BTC King here in the United States. And we are the US distributor for PundiX. We have partnered with WorldPay Global by FIS, which is America's #1 payment processor acquirer. And what we've brought to the table is a point of sale system that processes traditional payments, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, as well as contactless payments, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and Samsung Pay, as well as 20 different cryptocurrencies. I'm also a FPC Faster Payments Council member. I sit on that board that's sponsored by the Federal Reserve here in the United States. Within the Faster Payments Council, our initiative is to make settlement of payments in the US faster. And some of the marquee names in the Faster Payments Council is the Federal Reserve. It's sponsored by them. Walmart, Target are some names that you guys know. JP Morgan, BNY Mellon are also some names. And it's truly an honor to be here and represent digital currency and payments. And thank you for the opportunity to be here today. You're muted, Felix.
So it looks like we have no moderator or some other people are missing. So I guess we can do that, Dee. You know, it's actually really exciting to be here with you, because cryptocurrencies for me have like so many different layers, you know, and I mean, we come kind of from this, hey, we are Bitcoin, we can do payments without any intermediaries. This is still true, right? And it's still a very liberal and free community, I think. But on the other hand, you know, we want to make things legal, compliant, and I think it's very important, exactly the approach you take, you know, work with regulators, work with banks, because at the end of the day, I think if you really want to drive mass adoption, you have to do it in a way that complies, number one, and that is easy for people, and that means, you know, it seamlessly integrates into the existing payment networks, right? So this is why I think Dash always has taken this very hands-on approach in reaching out to partners and really scaling this approach with partners. So we are working with processors, with, you know, payment gateways, payment companies. Also, you know, we very open to regulators around the world. And again, you know, payment is not payment, but payment is different in different countries and on different use cases. So you really, you know, have to make it work. And to be honest, you know, the payment landscape here in Asia with all these different currencies are challenging. And I think we have, you know, done a great job in connecting more and more trading pairs. It's fantastic if you're in the US and you have the US dollar with the huge, you know, market around it, but Asia is different and a different approach here.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have our moderator now. Are you muted, sir? Coin Extra, you muted.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, I have been joining the panel, so let's continue with some of the discussion. Shadrach, who is the moderator for the panel, will be joining us soon. Let's continue the conversation. So we want to look at the first question would be how would decentralization, so we are talking about how a decentralized ecosystem where transparency, consolidation of these checks, like we're talking about, the question is a particular business or individual sends in money from another region or check, so it's hard to be recognized by other government. So how is the decentralization going to solve this edge? Didi Khan, let me start with you. Okay, Shadrach is here. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon,
Okay, you can
sir.
continue with the moderation.
Thank you kindly. Firstly, greetings to fellow guests. Much appreciated. I will now welcome to acknowledge our hosts and our sponsors and partners that are creating this platform. I will proceed with the moderation by allowing each of you to come to lean forward, maybe briefly about your area of expertise, and then we can continue straight into the questions. Thank you kindly. Felix, would you like to go first, kind sir?
Me, of course. Sorry, it's a bit laggy. Again, my name is Felix. You know, I'm working for Dash Digital Cash. I said that. And my background is from the banking and financial industry. So I was working very, very long as a consultant, especially in technical innovation of banks. And I can tell it was challenging because what is usually the case is that banks run very old core banking systems. And it's a big, big challenge for, these huge corporations that have to comply with so many different laws to upgrade their technology. Then came blockchain. I was super excited, and since then, the rest is history, is what they say.
Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. Thank you for the brief introduction. I will now proceed to the next introduction. If you could kindly lean forward, introduce name and also the hat that you wear. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Yes, my name is D. Duncan. I am the founder
Thank you, D.
of BTC King LLC here in the United States. We are a fintech operation. I'm also the U.S. distributor for PundiX. And what we've done is partnered with WorldPay by Fist Global, which is the #1 payment acquirer and processor here in America. And we have a all-in-one POS point of sales device that facilitates traditional payments, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover, along with Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, contactless payments, and crypto. And as I said before, I sit on the board of the Faster Payments Council here in the U.S., which is sponsored by the Federal Reserve Bank out of Washington, D.C. And I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you kindly. Much appreciated. So, gentlemen, for the benefit of the audiences that may not be in the blockchain space and others are a bit far ahead on the curve and others are coming in, and whether from public or private sector, could we kindly, as a departure point, perhaps touch a bit on what blockchain is and maybe unpack slightly on the intersection where blockchain and remittances globally as money moves around, where they intersect or where they should intersect. Over to you, gentlemen. Felix?
It's a very simple looking question. And in fact, it's very complicated if you try to explain to people. So I always had my mama as a reference to make her understand. And I mean, to the abstractly said, very briefly, it's a database technology, a decentralized ledger. But what that means, it really changes many things we do, because most things that are happening in the internet are built in a way that you need middlemen. So let's take the example of a payment. If I want to give you cash and I would be next to you, I could hand you over a dollar bill, right? But as I'm not there, the only way to give you any money is by doing a transfer or using any service that is allowing that. Blockchain essentially enables me to give money directly to you over a distributed ledger technology. And we from Dash, I don't know if we were live before when I explained that, or we are doing digital cash. So let me maybe briefly repeat that again. We are one of the very early solutions who build that is enabling to transfer value, to transfer Dash digital cash. And with that, we built up payment systems all around the world. And these payment systems work in a way that you can either transfer money directly to you, or you can integrate into existing payment networks. So in short, you can do many, many things with blockchain technology. Payment is only one use case of it. I think we have seen a panel before where we're talking about healthcare, and there are so many use cases where you can essentially cut out the middleman of the way we operate and the way we do business.
Thank you kindly. Thanks for making the profound to be simplified in order to be unpacked across all ages. Dee, perhaps you can maybe lean forward at that intersection of blockchain and remittances. Why is blockchain geared to appropriately and befittingly simplify or disrupt or democratize remittances as they stand now as we move towards smarter economies?
Great question. Even though I live in the U.S., I've spent a lot of time on ground in Africa. And I've seen it firsthand to where you're wanting to send, say, $100 from Uganda to the neighboring country in Kenya. And using traditional means like Western Union, you could easily absorb a fee of $25 of that $100 to send that money. Whereas if you're using blockchain technology, you may spend a few cents to send $100, to a family member in Kenya. So when people begin to realize how powerful it is to be able to send money around the clock, 365 days a year, at any time of the day or night, at a fraction of the cost that it costs to use traditional banking services, I think that is a mega wave of awakening, especially in emerging markets like Africa, like Latin America, and Southeast Asia, where remittances are dominated by money, PayPal or Western Union, MoneyGram, these big companies that charge so much to send money across borders. With fintech and blockchain technologies that are being developed to cater towards these customers that are more cost efficient, that are faster, that are easier to use. They have a better UX, UI experience. You don't have to go to a retail location. Everything is done from your mobile phone. That it's a convenience play as well. So these are some of the things, the key drivers that I see that will revolutionize the payments industry as far as remittance is concerned.
Much appreciated. I'm going to take a slight pause in order to extend a very warm welcome to our fellow guest and colleague, Mohammed. If he can just kindly turn on his mic and just greet the audiences and just perhaps mention very succinctly about his functionalities and core focus, the hats that he wears, and perhaps we will take it from there.
All right, thank you very much, my brother Shadrach. Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. I'm so excited to see you. I can see Felix. Felix, hello. It's good to have you around. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim Jagar. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I co-founded two successful startups. One is a payment company called VokePay, which we started early 2010. We launched in Nigeria where we took it to global. We were trying to see how we can be able to change the narrative whereby trying to help create where Africa can send money out of Africa, and also we have businesses collect money inside Africa. That was a simple strategy by setting up VokePay. And within the past 10 years, VokePay has been trying to correct and support businesses, especially SMEs in Africa, collect and receive payments, and also help in Africans in diaspora in terms of remittances, which is very key because a lot of Africans are in the diaspora spending billions of dollars and euros outside. So some of them want to find it difficult in bringing the money. Western Union has not been able to help them achieve that in bulk. So we are there trying to position ourselves to help African collect money. So, but currently for the past 2 years, I've been focusing on the blockchain because blockchain is a new oil. And we understand that we can use it to create and support businesses in Africa because a lot of businesses are a bit not disorganized, and also trying to see how we can provide blockchain as a service to support government, to support individuals, to support companies, to be able to automate their processing and what's so for the past 2 years, we've been trying to see how we can provide that informative way whereby educating and sensitizing government the use of blockchain in their services. Because a lot of them, the system is a bit disorganized, no transparency, no data management, no proper collection and alignment, confusion here and there. So we're now trying to let them educate them that this technology we're introducing will help them sensitize and also automate and also make their record very transparent, easily accessible, irrespective of their location or region. I'm so excited to be here with you to learn from my colleagues who are there, my co-panelists, and also you, Shadrach. Amazing, my African brother. Good to see you, man. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you kindly. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you
Yeah.
kindly. You know, I'm going to, with that warm welcome, I'm going to zoom back a bit for the benefit of the audiences to make them aware that as we co-create and share these insights, we are on different continents. Felix, I believe you are in Bangkok, and Dee, I believe you are in the US, and my brother Mohammed is on the western tip of Africa, while I'm on the southern tip of Africa. But nonetheless, I must also emphasize, each one of you appears to not only wear multiple hats, but to also have tentacles around the globe as your money moves around the world. Today, as we speak about money moving around the world. So with that being said, I've noted a few notes where, Dee, you mentioned the word dominance, and of course, Mohammed mentioned the words confusion and transparency. I'm going to allow Felix to pick up a bit on it as to how in this industry that is said to be worth 680 billion US dollars a year or more, there seems to be a monopoly element, even as we discuss blockchain. Felix, are we seeing blockchain bring about a democratization and maybe equality to what has been fortified with barriers to entry? Is blockchain likely to lower the barriers to entry? What do we see when we look into the hourglass?
I would say
Yes,
it definitely brings the potential to be really revolutionary, to lower the entry levels, to reduce dominance of existing players. But it's a big challenge to do so, because the reality is most people want to use technology, and not many people are really excited like us to look into technology and to read about technology every day and really to learn everything how it works in the background, right? And also, it's kind of true that payment is probably for the most who pay, not the most exciting thing, right? It's something you have to do rather than you want to do. So one part, I think this is why somebody mentioned education before. Of course, education is one part of it. Let's be honest, blockchain is difficult, and you have to take care about many things. For example, if you do it right, you have to take care about your own security, right? On the other side, there is usability, and usability is, if it comes to payment, key to make people use systems, right? So this is one thing. On the other thing, we mentioned dominance. There is, of course, players around the world with their pockets, because it's exactly like you say, it's a huge market, and companies know exactly that they want to make money in it, right? So as you mentioned, there's different countries and different continents. Of course, there's different players. Here in Asia, you can see WeChat Pay or Alipay all over the place. When you go out in Bangkok to have a meal in the restaurant, you will see around, I would say 10 to 20 QR code stickers of different payment systems where, people can easily go there. I would say at the same time, people are not using credit cards in the amount would use it in the US. It's simply not that common. And many times you try to pay with credit cards, you have a minimum, or, you are not allowed to pay, or it's not the most welcoming experience if you want to have that. So we started exactly with that and say, hey, we want to adopt cryptocurrency and offer cryptocurrency as a payment solution. So we went out and talked to a lot of different merchants. And, the questions you get is it secure? How can I use it? Do I have to pay something for it? So that comes if you are the one who wants to convince merchants, you have to come up with solutions, and you have to come up with solutions that are end to end. And that also means, it's if you are happy with cryptocurrency and you accept cryptocurrencies from your customers, fantastic. But the truth is most people would rather in Thailand like to have Thai baht or Filipino peso, or so this is why we have been working hard on partnering also with these dominant and existing players to provide end solution, because at the end of the day, I'm happy if a merchant accepts cryptocurrency and if I offer any customers alternative way of payments. So this is the way we approach it. Thank you.
That is brilliant. Thank you kindly, Felix. You mentioned an element there of Thailand, restaurant settings and other settings lacking perhaps what I can refer to as legacy systems. I'm going to evolve that into a question to forward it to Dee and Mohammed in order for them to perhaps attempt to help the audiences to understand both sides of that coin. To Dee, I'm going to put it this way. Based on the US being a legacy economy per se, with the likes of Visa and other players in the finance space being around for what, 5 decades? Is that likely to slow down the pace of adoption with blockchain being allowed to come in and simplify the remittances equation? That's your question. While you ponder on it, I will ask Mohammed the question that the same side of the coin to say, Mohammed, being one of the refined, respected leaders on the African continent, firstly with your serial entrepreneurship interest and with you being the bold voice on evolving Africa's financial trajectory. The question then becomes your side of the coin. Are we likely to see Africa, the adoption trajectory be fast-tracked because we lack maybe the burden of legacy systems in place that could hold us back? Is our fractured lack of development, is that likely to be the wild card that gives us a front foot with blockchain? Over to you, Dee, while Mohammed is pondering on that. So are you being held back? Is someone grabbing your heel, or are legacy systems stepping out of the way?
Well, that's a great question. You hinted towards Visa and MasterCard. Just to kind of give a broad overview to the audience, 90% of all transactions for payments are processed by Visa and MasterCard in the United States, just to be clear. With that said, however, at the highest levels of our nation, we see a tilting towards crypto. Thanks to people like Mr. Brian Brooks, the Office of the Comptroller lead for banks here in the United States, has authorized banks in America to custody cryptocurrencies. So banks are right now in a real situation because, one, they don't have the infrastructure to support custody. So they probably will have to partner with some existing framework that's already developed by a company in blockchain to acquire their services, to manage the custody services for them, as well as paired with the announcements that you have with MicroStrategy, a publicly traded company here in the US that just bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin. It was just announced today that Square, 80% of their Q3 revenues were sales of Bitcoin. So these types of numbers, when these types of numbers start hitting, Main Street America, when Wall Street reviews these numbers, it gives a cause for pause, and it makes the traditional payment system here in America really take a strong, hard look at what is the best way to unleash Bitcoin, unleash cryptocurrencies in a safe environment for Americans here in the US, because clearly with an 80% of your revenue coming from Bitcoin sales, there's a huge demand here in the United States.
That's brilliant. Thank you kindly. And thanks for those high level numbers that are certainly lending the conversation in terms of the needle that is beginning to move upwards. I'm very glad. God bless America, as they say. My brother Mohammed, there is this notion that Africa's lack of infrastructure, or per se digital infrastructure that lends itself into financial legacy system, could be a curse. But are we seeing this seeming curse turn into or lend itself into a blessing? The fact that our minds or our cultures are not too acclimatized or too dependent on legacy systems, is that likely to be the accelerant that sees our needle moving upward more quicker as we leverage blockchain? Or what do we see? Let me hand over to you for your thought insights.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't forget. So thank you very much, my brother, for that interesting question. It's a two-way thing. And I'm very, very interested to let you know that from the blockchain part, which is a new oil, there's a lot of might around it. Might in the sense that people acceptability within government, while the private sector are very interesting to take it up because they want to see how new things evolve in the space. The likes of, I'm just talking about myself, we're trying to see how best we can solve our day-to-day problems using the best innovation, the best technology that can help disrupt the space. But is the system ready to accept that? Yeah, because a lot of people have this two-way thing, understanding and having this might around blockchain. They look at it as crypto. So there's a lot of doing sensitization. A lot of, we need to burn more calories, whereby doing more sensitization, doing more education, orienting them, letting them know that this is a different ball game. This is a technology. This is what it's ruled at. This is more or less like this. This is what it can work on. And it's like a plug and play facility that can be used in different things. So a lot of things around that has helped the growth and development and acceptability of blockchain. But it will interest you to know that the sprung up of a lot of startups and SMEs bringing up innovative solutions, be it from the land registry, be it from the housing, be it from the fintech, all of them tying it towards blockchain has helped in sensitizing, in also creating more avenue, more awareness. The banks are known about it. Recently, there was a policy document by Security and Exchange Commission of Nigeria, which invited critical stakeholders, the blockchain user group, which I'm a member of the blockchain user group. I'm a director of the blockchain user group in Nigeria. We interacted with the government. We told the government, this is the way whereby you come up with policies around this sector. Because this is a sector that you don't know. It's a sector that came in the 21st century that you don't know, you don't have it in your plan. So they need to sit down and listen to us who have more experience, who have more knowledge about it to educate them. And I'm happy they've been able to understood, accepted it, and now it's about implementation. The private sector implementation is a bit higher because it's going faster than you can imagine. Because I need to give you a critical example. We went to a state which has a serious problem with about land registry solution. We have a solution for land registry. We approach the state government. We're trying to see how we can be able to help them digitize the land system, whereby, first of all, putting the LIS, was the land information system, and the GIS together, the geographic information system. So the third layer we're trying to bring to them was to see how we can bring the blockchain technology on top of it, whereby every individual citizen or indigent of the state can apply for his certificate of occupancy, can do his duty of assessment, can do his certification, and everything at the comfort of his desk. The issue of data collection and scattering and lack of organization, blockchain is going to sort that. It's going to put everything on its layer the way it is. So it took us ages to educate them about this, in as much as they still told us to slow down, that we should do the one they understand, implement it, then later we can bring that. So we can see that there's a rapid growth in that. Yeah, there's a legacy issue, but we feel blockchain is more needed with governments, because governments is there to account and provide for its citizens. And there's a lot of things that government that is doing that there's no like proper accountability. There's lack of proper record, proper data management, proper assessment. So blockchain is going to solve that. So it's our task, we've taken it upon ourselves to create more time, to be more patient, to educate this government on how it's going to help them to achieve all those information and accessibility. So, and another part that I want to talk about is about the remittances space, because the remittances space is a space that is that has really helped because we've seen that the digital disruption in international person-to-person remittances is underway, we all know. But new research has estimated that international digital remittances will exceed over 300 billion globally by 2021, making it up of over 44% of the total formal international remittances. That's up to 36%, which is on 2018. It's a record, I mean, I keep tab on. So this is, so thanks to high rate of mobile phone penetration and growing internet access, we also thanks to digital players, which are not only gaining ground, but are also forcing traditional incumbents to expand their digital footprints in Africa. And despite this encouraging trend, combined with global share marketer, we see that there's digital disruptors remain small. In as much as South Africa, where you're from, their presence has not yet placed significant downward pressure on remittances costs. In fact, this cost sends remittance from and within South Africa are among the highest in the world. From my survey, they are among the highest in the world. And as shown in the figure below, you see, World Bank has been able to see like about in around Q3, average a cost of over $200 billion. That's on that countries and that space. So why compliance is a top priority for every remittance industry? You know, remittance volumes are rising every year, and more corridors are being connected through sophisticated networks developed by today's global money transfer operators, and organizations are subject to local and international and national regulations. Whether the remitter is to money transfer or to operator or a bank is bound to long due to, because diligence and compliance obligation is very critical. Because let's say, for example, our remittances must be licensed, otherwise they will be deemed underground and outside the law. And what I feel is one about things that we need to look at is an entirely good thing that we can, the transfer infrastructures and remittance flows are being transformed by digital technology and mobile money. It means more money, more people worldwide will have access to versatile, cost-effective, and also remittances by new technologies and practices. Why am I talking about this? Because it's a space that I'm very interested in. There's a lot of funds which are being locked up, differences, and we've seen it happening in different sectors, in different ways, but what are the corridors? What are we doing to be able to see how we can be able to open up that corridor, to be able to support what we need to live and be able to achieve? Let me allow other speakers to talk, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. There is a question from the audiences.
Yeah.
One moment. There is a question from the audiences. They would like to know, I'll put it to Dee and Felix. They want to know, since there are some front foot, forward-thinking big companies that have gone on to secure perhaps licenses in order to play in those remittances space. Are we likely to see, from a regulation perspective, are we likely to see governments allowing those maybe startups that are emerging using or riding on the back of those awarded licenses in order to also bring their blockchain solution in the remittances space to market? Is that an open door? Is that a closed door? What are we likely to see from a regulation perspective? They say sharing is caring. Are we likely to see the sharing in that space, or what do we foresee? I'll put it to you, Felix and Dee. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, riding on their back, I wouldn't say that. There's definitely a big competition in remittances. And again, there's, you know, very different countries with very different remittances markets and needs, right? As I'm aware, Mexico and the US are actually the top remittances markets. The Philippines are very close by. And as Mohammed just established, there are also big remittances markets in Africa, right? So the question, let's take it from a consumer perspective. What do you want to do? If, you know, usually it's people, or in many cases, it's people who work in some country and they want to send some money home, right? So it's usually people who have cash in some kind of form. might have a bank account or might have a bank account, and send that to someone who then takes cash, might have a bank account or might not have a bank account, right? So this is the first challenge. Obviously, we can provide with cryptocurrencies and with Dash, with our solution, you don't need anything. You can just install the app and I can send you Dash from here to Nigeria or South Africa or wherever any of our panelists is sitting right now. But then the question comes, what do you do with it, right? So number one, many people would fear the volatility risk. I mentioned my mom before. She would definitely don't know what to do now with Dash, right? So obviously we have to give her a solution. And there the players come in who are in established remittances markets and have also licenses. And again, these licenses differ very much in the different countries you are in. And optimally, you know, it works in a way that I just can send money and then either the counterparty can come and pick it up in cash or have it on a bank account and, you know, withdraw it with an ATM card or with whatever, right? So in that sense, obviously, as we are a global cryptocurrency, for us, the globe is the market, and we want to cater solutions to everyone and especially to everyone in need. You know, we have become very, very big in Venezuela, also in parts of Africa, namely, you know, Zimbabwe, for example, with very high inflation rates. And there, you know, it's a no-brainer to use cryptocurrency because this currency is definitely more stable or secure than, you know, than the things which come from the governments and from the local bank, right? So in this case, the question of, you know, is it now the government who controls it or you know, who makes it happen is sometimes not maybe that relevant for the people who are using the solution, right? So then there's other countries. In the Philippines, where we are working on, we are just partnering with several companies. And again, I would not say we are riding any back of these companies. Quite the contrary, we are actually offering them as saying, hey, we have a solution. You can just plug it into whatever you have. You can most likely just plug it also in the license framework you have. And at the end of the day, what you have is a competitive advantage over other companies that do not offer cryptocurrencies. And we have a big global community of users. So we will help you to get users and also to monetize on these users in a different way. This can be one option, but again, as we established before, of course, we don't want actually that somebody who has a $100 transaction pays $25 because, you know, at the end of the day, this is not what I personally want to see for the people. And this is why I'm trying to educate the people, and the best way to do it is staying in cryptocurrency, going maybe in US dollar, Dash or something to have another stable asset. And this is why from our perspective, you know, we not only enable the remittance solution, and I established before, we also built the merchant ecosystems, right? So now I can send some money over and you can go to some stores and spend your cryptocurrency in a way. So you can kind of, if you're able to stay in this ecosystem, you're very well off, you're very cheap, and, you know, nobody can prevent you from doing it. So long story short, I think it's a very many layered question. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's all good. Before I transition to D, I would like to forward hint a question to Mohammed as he ponders on it, that there's an aspect of data because our forum is twofold. There's data and remittances. If he can ponder on the inflationary component of data management through too many middlemen, perhaps in the game of remittances around the world. Is blockchain, by simplifying that data management paradigm, are we likely to see financial savings and benefits for those that are sending money around? So will blockchain disrupt, simplify, and perhaps thin the layer of data layers in a remittance equation? While you think on that, let me once again make a reference to what you said and hear Dee's points. D, Mohammed said as he went about looking at some of the legacy layers of the property sector, he found that there was perhaps a bit of archaic elements that had to be done away with and simplified with blockchain. I want to ask a question riding on what he said in terms of the GIS and other layers. There is an economic scenario called information asymmetry, whereby those that control, the powers that be, that control information, be it in a legacy system or elsewhere, those that control data as some type of oil, they also tend to control the economy. And it goes back to the dominance that you mentioned earlier. Are we seeing decentralization simplify, what do you call it, remittances by democratizing data? Are we seeing a happy ever after? What are your thoughts there?
So to answer that question, what I would say is here in America, you have Ernst & Young, which is one of the big 5 accounting firms here in America. They launched a blockchain initiative through EY, and they're working with a company called Baseline Protocol, which is a Ethereum layer of, it's enterprise layer of Ethereum. So in there you have Ernst & Young, Microsoft, Google, IBM Hyperledger, JP Morgan and Chase, and that's just to name a few. What they're doing is basically building out a systematic way to control the flow of data in a decentralized manner. The key component of doing that is a company in crypto called Chainlink. They are partnered with Baseline Protocol to secure data from external uses such as, anywhere from the New York Stock Exchange, Bloomberg, all of these data feeds that are external in the real world. They still need to be able to talk to blockchains in the crypto space. So Chainlink sits in the middle and secures data with their decentralized Oracle smart contracts that they have. And so that's what we're going to see here in America and around the world. That is going to be scalable. Chainlink is also working with BSN, which is China's version of what EY is doing. And so that is where I see data security going in the future. It's going to be that, companies don't want to come in and build out their own framework. They don't want to build their own infrastructure. What they want to do is they want to tap into all of this that's going on in blockchain via API. And so with the Oracle infrastructure that Chainlink has developed, it makes it very easy for legacy companies to enter into the decentralized world through their Oracle system. And we'll see a lot more transaction volume flow happening on the Ethereum blockchain because of it.
Brilliant. Thank you kindly. I'm truly in great company. I'm truly in great company. Global great insights. I'm asking the questions, but I've also come pen and paper. I'm learning a lot. As we transition to Mohammed, we've always heard about the myth of cutting out the middleman. Is blockchain finally going to bring the realization of the middleman being cut out in the global remittance framework? And are those savings likely to be passed on to you and I and our fellow brothers and sisters around the world? We can depend on you, sir, to unfold this kind of element. Over to you.
Thank you so much. It's a very interesting question and a very deep question, because the fintech, the remittance and the fintech space, payment space, is a delicate space. I will tell you my story. For the past 10 years, it's not been easy, working with KYCs, doing all those Cs, AML, and what have you. It's not easy. It involves a lot of checks and balances. Yes, it's entirely good thing that transfer infrastructures and remittances flows are being transformed by digital technology and mobile money. It means more people worldwide now have access to versatile and cost-effective remittances. But new technologies and practices bring vulnerabilities as well as opportunities, because compliance must match the pace of change. That is one critical part. And this is evident in the recently enacted Second Payment Service Directive, that's PSD2, which is bringing European payments up to date with online transactions and mobile revolution. Compliance means greater operational efficiency and greater customer service. Without regulation, there will not be accountability to ensure money moves faster and safely and securely from sender to receiver, or to identify block transactions that are not legitimate. Now that transactions are increasingly digital, regulations such as Know Your Customer, that's KYC, anti-money laundering, what's it called? That's AML, anti-terrorism financing, ATF, must also extend to the new world of digital remittances. That is where blockchain is going to key in on that. Irrespective of whether the transaction is completed through a mobile app or a bank, same levels of compliance are required. While technology has added to the complexity and the demands of the compliance, it also offers effective solution for compliance. These technology advances powering the remittances industry are also driving big advances in the visibility on security. The industry is embracing compliance issues because in terms of automated identification, real-time identification, transaction scanning, data analytics, data enrichment, artificial intelligence, collectively, these are other developments, that provide more complete understanding of transaction flows and also counterparties, which is as vital as transfer pathways in the goods, reach, and also scope of the simplicity. Because, in terms of online remittances, don't meet, online remitters, they don't meet clients in person. Mobile money is spreading worldwide, and KYC is very important in terms of the compliance factor, because it has to be one solution is by biometrics, and which is growing popularity as also reliable and that. But what we need to look at is the data management parts, which normal KYC and AML factor, the blockchain part can come in to replace that. But definitely the issue of data management, analytics, and AI would fuse in to help in terms of that, so that the compliance is also important in terms whereby to be able to restrict goods and parts of de-risking, and it means some financial institutions are accessing the cost benefits certain operations because of declining withdrawal of high risk activities, that they can improve that. Because the remittances space is a very, very delicate space, as I mentioned earlier. It's a very delicate space. You can't make it as porous. Yes, blockchain will bring more accountability, will tie all those solutions, the AML, the KYC, the AI solutions in whereby it cannot be tampered with or altered in that access. But data will still pass and be managed properly.
That is brilliant. What I'm going to do, thank you kindly for the insights. What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask two more questions. One to Felix, the other one to Dee. And of course, we are going to, in the benefit of time, I'm going to ask all of you to begin preparing your parting words in a moment, so that we can expedite. My question to you, Felix.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Shadrach.
Yes, sir.
We have 10 minutes to conclude this session. So we're going to wrap up now. So please go ahead, just to let you know.
Brilliant. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. Thank you. So Thailand is known for multiple things, hospitality being one of them. I'm going to take that angle, given the embedded collaboration nature in blockchain. A common theme today that's been unfolding with remittances is that it reminds us that globally we are more interconnected than we realize, and therefore we should play nicely with one another. But when you introduce money, suddenly people forget to be nice. Thailand being known for hospitality, are we likely to see Thailand using hospitality as a leverage where there's a deeper collaboration between the private sector and the public sector and the startup domain? Are we likely to see that hospitality gene or DNA lend itself into blockchain? What are we seeing in order to simplify the remittances using or leveraging collaboration and hospitality? Are we seeing that trend?
That's a fantastic question. And one thing about blockchain technology is we are creating trustless environments. And I think this is a key point, that essentially it's not even required that I trust that I assume you are a good person, you know, but we are using blockchain, so essentially nobody can cheat. I mean, obviously, you know, there's real world scenarios where a lot of things can happen and scammers are everywhere. So people have to be careful with whatever, but in theory, the solution and the technology can provide exactly that layer. And if allow, just, you know, because I really like to share this with our audience here, is that a lot has happened in blockchain. Number one, we have seen a lot of companies developing products for the last year. And finally, in 2020, there are a lot of products such as lending, borrowing, remittances, payment solutions out there suddenly, right? And it has become very popular under DeFi, decentralized finance. So what we have established with blockchain technology is really, if you will, a kind of decentralized copy of what we have in the existing payment world, right? So now people can build whatever they want, and they can, you know, the other side of the users can use all these solutions without middlemen, without asking for permission, you know, without waiting for somebody to come around and allow them to do so. And, you know, Dash is now coming out with Dash Platform, which I'm very, very excited and happy about. It's released in the next month. And what that enables is essentially a second layer you can build on. So people can build payroll solutions, you know, a lot of stuff, and maybe even remittances. So I would like to rephrase that question, and I would like, with open arms, invite everybody from, you know, who is listening from the ecosystem, who's excited to come up with ideas or who has development skills, to approach me and let's discuss what we can build together. And one amazing thing about Dash is that we are a decentralized or autonomous organization that is, you know, not giving away money, but that has a treasury. So everybody in the world, you know, be it in Africa and Latin America or everywhere you are, you can apply for funds if you have a great idea and if you have the skills to make it happen. You can apply for these funds to develop solutions that benefit everyone. And I think for me, the closing words, please open arms, approach me if you want.
Thank you kindly. Dee, in about 60 seconds, could you perhaps lean forward and maybe following on what you said earlier on about data management and legacy firms being more amenable or willing to move the what do you call it, to move data management into the cloud? Are we likely to see that lending itself into enhanced data security and protection? And would that lend itself into remittances becoming more affordable? No pressure at all. You've got 60 seconds. You can go ahead.
I would definitely say yes to that, because, you know, when you remove the friction of insecurity out of the system, and you move towards a trustless system, a trustless environment, there is a lot of cost to be realized as far as savings is concerned. And so once you do that, you can then basically make your services more affordable to those that may not have been able to afford them prior. And I see that happening. I see that happening on many fronts in the payments arena. I see a lot of big companies here in America looking to engage in the payments arena, and they're looking to partner with smaller fintech companies to utilize their solutions for cross-border payments. So we'll definitely see an uptick in that going forward for sure. And thank you guys.
Thank you kindly. Yes, and quickly, your parting remarks. We've got only 2 minutes. Your parting remarks quickly, if you keep it briefly.
Yes, I mean, for me, I love the payments industry, and I see a huge need around the world for a scalable solution, and we offer that solution in the form of our point of sales machines. It is literally the first of its kind to be able to transmit cryptocurrency and Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. And we're looking to bring this technology also to West Africa. So I'll be there in December to meet with some of my friends and partners on ground there, and look forward to meeting all of you guys.
We're looking forward to meet with you. Make sure you contact me when you get to Nigeria.
We will be waiting. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. I'm going to thank you. Over
My
to you,
parting
sir.
words. My parting words, Shadrach. I've not said my parting words.
Yes, say we have to
All right,
close
quick
now.
one. Thank you,
Yes,
Seth.
you can say parting words.
All right, thank you. Digital experts, coders, and developers are aware of the opportunities afforded by the blockchain technology and are eager to sell their services. Decision makers, along with development and anti-corruption practitioners, need to make themselves familiar with the core functions of blockchain technology. They will then be better equipped to make sensible decisions for when and where possible to apply such tools. Thank you so much, Shadrach. Let's keep Africa great. Let's continue. It's good to have you again, my brother. We're going to connect
Thank you
again
so
next
much.
month. Huh?
We'll meet.
Guys,
Thank you
We'll meet
kindly.
another
Very
next
kindly.
month.
Thank you very much for your
Bless you.
time this evening,
Yeah,
morning, wherever
thank
you
you,
are. We'll jump to the next session that starts right about now. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
See you
thank you,
guys.
Selfie. All right, cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Yes.
Bye. Yeah.